Okay. Now it's time for me to deliver on that promise about the nightmare blunt rotation. It's time, folks. It's time. I present to you one of the worst panels of people I've ever seen in my life.
Well, Presidents Biden and Trump have been confirmed as their party's presumptive nominees after the least competitive primaries in living presidential memory. They have 8 months to prove that they've got big answers to the big questions dividing America. Should the US continue to back Israel in Gaza? How do we end Putin's war in Ukraine? Should the US keep funding it? Who will fix the migrant crisis?
Well, we got Piers Morgan on the case.
The economy many people feel is broken. Who stands to gain?
Who else might there be?
Most from the continued momentum of people like RFK Jr. Our guests for this debate have strong views and a big influence in the digital space, where so many schools are now settled. Together at last, I'm joined by the streaming liberal Destiny, Benny Johnson, and Dave Smith.
I think that it's pretty
We have the ultimate nightmare blunt rotation. We got Destiny. We got Benny Johnson. We've got
digital space.
mean-spirited guy.
And Dave Smith.
I don't know who Dave Smith is. That's the most nondescript name I've ever heard in my life. So I don't know who that is.
I think that it's pretty undeniable that Trump is kind of a mean-spirited guy. Every single thing that he does is just ultimately to serve his needs or his ends at the end of the day.
To call somebody demonic like Donald Trump, who's actually against the 10 million people who have been human smuggled into this country, many of them children. Have you ever been down to the border, Destiny? Have you seen the rape trees? Trump brought world peace.
The what? The rape trees? Oh god. I don't have any whiskey. I don't have whiskey. I only have a rosé, and I'm not just gonna drink an entire bottle of rosé while watching this. I'm gonna get something else. Get white girl wasted? Fine. Fine, I'll embrace the wine mom aesthetic, but only because I hit 10K subscribers and I've earned it. And with that, I'm having Moonlight and Roses. Oh, Rosé's so good.
Dare you?
The
For a
virtue
child.
signal.
Every time Benny Johnson, or honestly, anytime anyone on this panel says something shocking, I'm just gonna take a drink.
Is off the charts. I didn't kill anybody.
And even in this State of the Union, which, as you said, and I'll agree, he did better than, if the standard is he was able to walk and get up there and read words off a teleprompter.
Yo, Metal Kitty Mom, you sold 150 pizzas? I'm gonna want pizza. Shit. Also, congrats, Pizza Queen! All hail the Pizza Queen! The Pizza Queen! That's a huge bottle. It only looks huge. I guess it's a shower, not a grower.
For whatever reason, his position on the war in Gaza has just totally ruined his campaign. This is just not the case.
Hey, Lil
for
Wheelie
Donald
Cleric.
Trump.
So welcome all to all three of you. I've been looking forward to this. I got to say, three titans of your businesses coming together to talk about.
Can I just say something a bit controversial here? Destiny should not have a goatee. It's not a. I don't like it. Makes him look inherently untrustworthy.
What is probably, I don't know, depending on your viewpoint, this is either the most depressing moment in modern American politics or something that is, I don't know, indicative of a wider malaise, you might argue, about the way the world is going, where celebrity triumphs substance, where age is no longer seen to be a problem. Who knows what we're talking about here? But you guys,
Man, Piers Morgan, I don't think you want to be throwing that issue around too much, okay?
can thrash it out between you. I want to start by playing what.
Yeah, Lauren
this is
Walker, we
Bill
hit
Maher
10K
show,
on
from
Twitch.
Friday night.
It's
And he
true,
had
we're at
Robert De Niro on.
10,001.
He said this about Trump.
It's so cool.
He's such a mean, nasty, hateful person. I never play him as an actor because I can't see any good in him. Nothing at all. Nothing redeemable in him. If he wins the election, you won't be on the show anymore. He'll come looking for me. There'll be things that happen that none of us can imagine.
I mean, okay, let's start with Destiny. I got to say, when I saw that, I just thought, really? Isn't this liberals falling into the old trap of over-demonizing Trump to the extent
Of course you wouldn't be able to identify a fascist, Pierce. You're a monarchist, so, you know, you're like kissing cousins.
that actually it just helps him?
I think that there is an issue when it comes to covering Trump because it feels like there is an over-demonization of Trump, but also Trump is kind of a demon. Like, I think that it's funny because people will look at the left and they'll say that, you know, people are harping too much on Trump's rhetoric or how mean he is towards people on Twitter. But then when you talk to conservatives, it seems like Trump's Twitter behavior is their number one selling point for why they like him so much. Like, yeah, I don't know what he does with policy. I don't know what he does with legislation, but, you know, he's got a lot of really good zingers. Like, this is a guy who's known for giving mean nicknames to his debate stage opponents. I don't think it's that crazy to say that Trump
He literally, like, just a couple weeks ago took back the crooked from Crooked Hillary and is trying to do Crooked Joe. He's trying to make Crooked Joe a thing. Crooked Joe Biden.
Trump has some of the most divisive rhetoric and is one of the meanest people that we've seen as like a world leader on the world stage, at least insofar as like rhetoric and how he addresses people goes.
Yeah, but I always say, you see, about this, that there's a lot of hypocrisy about this based around Trump's rhetoric compared to his actions. For example, you know, with Barack Obama, who obviously didn't tweet incendiary things about people.
Since we're talking about Donald Trump and Dune is somewhat topical. I think it's this. Yeah. Here you go. This is a special treat to help the nightmare blunt go down.
Shai-Hulud. Good people of Arrakis. It's me, Shai-Hulud, your beloved sandworm of the desert. Many people are saying Paul Atreides. Little Paul Atreides. I call him Pesky Paul. He's Al-Mahdi. People are calling him Lisan Al-Gaib. Pesky Paul's calling himself Muad'Dib.
Demon Mama says congratulations on 10K. Thanks Amber Brains. Sub for the sub gods.
Oh,
Donos for the dono dogs.
Demon Mama, thank you. And Salmon Moose, thank you very much for the 5 gifted tier 1 subs. You guys got everything this stream. You guys got the drama. You guys got a debate. You guys got to see me white girl dance. Subs for the sub gods. Donos for the dono dogs. Thank you, Salmon Moose. Thank you so much. And it's very kind of Demon Mama to send her regards. I like Demon Mama a lot. Tell Demon Mama we all say hello. Henlo. We do all say henlo.
He said, Muad'Dib, I'm a little desert mouse. Just a humble little desert mouse. And he is very tiny. I saw him. I could crush him easily. Folks, you can't trust Pesky Paul. He's got the Bene Gesserit. Nasty women. Nasty women. Those Bene Gesserit trying to control the outcome of event. He's going around the desert. He's going to the south of the southern border. He's bringing up religious fanatics from the south. He's trying to wage a holy war in the whole universe. Now, the Harkonnens, we don't like the Harkonnens, folks. They're terrible. They're terrible. They gave us a bad deal, but I can get a better deal from the Harkonnens. What can I say? They want our spice. It's the most precious substance in the universe. We're going to get a better deal. We're going to make Arrakis great again. It's going to be an amazing time. We're going to have paradise here in Arrakis, not because of Pesky Paul, but because of your old friend Shai Hulud.
It's so good. All right.
And was the epitome of kind of civilized presidential public office behavior. But he still deported over 3 million people. He still ran a terrible drone program. He still dropped more bombs in 1 year than any president in modern history. He kept Guantanamo Bay open despite campaigning to shut it, etc. He's the angel, Trump's the devil, and I don't think either's particularly accurate.
I don't think I would say that Obama is an angel, but I mean, there's a separate discussion between besides the character of a person and the actual policy positions or things they did in office. I think Trump would lose on both counts, but I mean, separate from policy or,
Oh yeah, Benny Johnson is the biggest tool bag. There's a reason why on Twitch it's still called the ultimate nightmare blunt rotation. Does anyone know who this other guy is? This third guy? We've got Piers Morgan, we got Destiny, we got Benny Johnson. Does anyone know who this last guy is? Like, who is Dave Smith? I would try and Google it, but I know that Dave Smith is going to get me 10 billion results. Who is he? Posted a link? You did? Oh, comedian Dave Smith. Oh, he's a frequent guest on the Greg Gutfeld show, so you know he's gonna be full of jokes. A member of the Mrs. Caucus of the Libertarian Party. He's running the social media of the entire Libertarian Party? Oh no. Oh, this guy's not no good. This guy no good at all. My God. Well, all right.
Effectuality or ineffectuality as a leader, I think that it's pretty
God, I wish that guy from earlier had been a libertarian. That would have also been very funny. I feel like I still made that abortion debate funny, but it would have been even funnier if he was a libertarian.
Deniable that Trump is kind of a mean-spirited guy. And then when you look at how he runs his campaign, when you look at how he runs the country, he's a very self-driven person. Like, every single thing that he does is just ultimately to serve his needs or his ends at the end of the day. Whether that means throwing political opponents under the bus, whether that means throwing political allies under the bus, whether that means not helping, Georgia's Senate elections because he's so angry that Raffensperger, wouldn't turn over enough votes for him, and now Georgia has 2 blue senators. Like, I don't know. Just Trump is a really mean dude. And again,
Okay.
yeah, you can switch over and you can look at the foreign policy position too. But I mean, you can talk about Obama's follies, but Trump also abandoned our Kurdish allies in Syria to Turkey. Trump also, inflamed tensions in the Middle East when he recognized, the Jerusalem, moving the embassy over to Jerusalem and the United States' recognition of Israel annexing East Jerusalem and everything. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think Trump wins on any count.
Yeah,
He
this
just
is the
come off as a nice
StarCraft
guy.
player. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, Benny Johnston, does it matter whether Trump's a nice guy or not? I think people have baked in now what he is. He's a shoot from the hip, guy that loves to talk. He's pretty narcissistic. Okay.
He's a fascist.
He's pretty bombastic. He's pretty pugilistic. If you read his book, The Art of the Deal, he says if somebody punches me, metaphorically or real, I'll punch them 10 times back. There's nothing new about any of Trump's behavior if you have studied his behavior for the last 40
Hey, I play StarCraft too. I used to play in college. I was not very good, but I did play in a couple tournaments.
50 years. He just happens to be a guy
Good night,
who won the
Erica.
White House and right now is actually looking like he's favourite to win it back. So for all the rhetorical issues around Trump and the supposed meanness, there are tens of millions of Americans who are queuing up to vote for him.
Yeah, so let's talk about tens of millions. I particularly take quite a bit of umbrage with the description of Donald Trump as demonic. I think that is quite shocking as a Christian myself to call somebody demonic like Donald Trump, who's
You literally have his mugshot on the wall behind you. Okay.
actually against the 10 million people who have been human smuggled into this country, many of them children. I remember a time not too long ago when people the left cared about children in cages. Yet now they're calling Donald Trump demonic. He wants to stop these human smuggling by the cartels. Have you ever been
By putting them in the cages, of course.
down to the border, Destiny? Have you seen the rape trees? Have you seen the little children's toys that are left down there from the human smuggling that is created by Joe Biden, the biggest human smuggler in human history? Do you know the carnage and the horror that is being created by those policies? Let's not even talk about what Joe Biden has done to the
What? How can you just casually throw out the phrase rape tree and not at all elaborate on what the hell you're talking about? Because I feel like the image that comes to my mind is like the Whomping Willow from Harry Potter, but all of the tree branches are dicks. Like that's the image in my head, and I know that that's not accurate, but that's the image that's in my head, and I don't like it.
world stage. Donald Trump brought world peace. You're going to talk about Kurds and wars? How about Ukraine? Joe Biden could have stopped that war before it even started. Joe Biden continues that war and continues the funding of that war that is leading to the wholesale slaughter of an entire region. Joe Biden
could have stopped that war. How, Benny?
Stop it right now. Joe Biden has brought war around the world. And then let's talk about the fentanyl poisoning America. You want to talk about cruelty? It took Joe Biden 400 days to go to East Palestine in Ohio, a city that was poisoned by our federal government in a chemical explosion, much less the chemical explosion that is happening all throughout America with fentanyl, slaughtering 100,000 Americans. And the final thing I'll say here.
The chemical explosion of fentanyl around America? God damn it. I really did think I would be doing a bit better here, but nope. Oh! Wow, somebody actually bothered to write about this. This is insane. Border authorities, so not again, this is the Border Patrol, refute GOP allegations of rape trees rampant in South Texas. What the hell is that? Spots where migrants are sexually assaulted, their undergarments are hung as trophies. What? Oh, but during interviews with Border Report, several border sheriffs and federal officials said they had found no evidence that rape trees exist. Oh, you mean it's just made up? It's literally made up. Oh, and this was established as made up 2 years ago. This article is from 2022. One Democratic congressman suggested this is an exaggeration of misinformation that is being released just weeks before the upcoming midterm elections, in which several Republican women are challenging longtime Democratic stronghold of South Texas, including 2 who are making rape trees a talking point. So literally the Republican women candidates made up stories about rape trees in order to try and unseat their Democratic opponents. Pro tip, if you actually care about rape and sexual assault, you don't need to make up stories about it. If you actually care about helping women, if you actually care about solving the rampant problem of sexual assault and abuse, you don't need to make up stories about it. There are plenty of real-world examples. You don't need to just talk about rape trees. Okay? You don't need... Wait, Very Knifey Duck, are these stories from the Bush era? Is this like some kind of like spooky campfire Republican story that they've just been passing down for like decades at this point? You know, the first step of what you can do, you can listen to victims? Absolutely. Wait, Very Knifey Duck, this is important. Are these... Is this a Bush-era story? Does this go back farther than 2022? No, the ghoul who did the response to the State of the Union address used a story from the Bush era and blamed it on Biden. That's crazy.
How dare you call Donald Trump demonic when Joe Biden had...
Benny Johnson, how dare you come on this show and just tell lies? Tell propagandistic lies. And use sexual assault to make them sound and seem more believable and lascivious. This is disgusting.
Hasn't even said Laken Riley's name correctly, called her Lincoln Riley when he was forced to. This woman was slaughtered by a criminal alien who was in this country illegally, who was released by Democrats, and went on to slaughter a nursing student in Georgia with his bare hands. And Joe Biden apologized to the murderer. How dare you?
When did he apologize to the... I'm sorry, citation needed on that one. Joe Biden apologized to the murderer? I don't think that happened. Again, this is just lies. And this is what makes Benny Johnson, like, bad at his job, you know? This is what makes, Benny Johnson not great. He did. Bunny Game, you're telling me if I type into Google... What an unfortunate time for this song to start playing. You're telling me if I type into Google right now, Joe Biden apologizes to, Oh! Oh! Oh, you mean when he apologized... You're talking about him apologizing in an interview for saying illegal alien? He wasn't apologizing to the murderer, dipshit. He was apologizing to other people who felt dehumanized by his language choice. Your literacy is shot. Go back to school. You're literally Billy Madisoning it right now. Good God. Yeah, like, the thing that makes Benny Johnson bad at his job is that he is bad at telling lies that seem true. The trick to being a good propagandist is tapping into what people think is true and then presenting a narrative that goes along with that and twists it in the direction that you want, right? That's what propagandists do. And Benny Johnson is really bad at this because his lies are so glaring and so overt, you can't help but know that he's lying.
You say, Joe, that Donald Trump's demonic? Can you defend any of that behavior? Final thing I'll say here is Joe Biden wouldn't acknowledge his own grandchild. Even the New York Times said that is a sick, evil behavior.
Well, then, Donald, I wouldn't throw stones in that glass house, okay? Like, Donald Trump also has some children he doesn't recognize, okay?
So if you're looking for demonic behavior, my friend, I got it for you. It's sitting in the White House in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue in a diaper right now during nap time.
Wow. Okay, that's what I call a rebuttal. Let's come to Dave Smith. Before we do, let's play that.
Did Benny Johnson like coke himself up before this? he's extra unhinged today.
Clip that Benny referenced. This is when Joe Biden in the State of the Union address did not pronounce Laken Riley's name properly.
It's not about him. It's not about me. I'd be a winner. Not really. Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right.
Now, Dave, the issue for Biden.
Here's one. A trans HIV-positive male breastfeeds infant with help of Canadian medical clinics. You call me crazy? What? No, I said you're wrong, and Benny Johnson's crazy. If you want to take if you want to take it in the wrong way, that's on you, okay? You know what? HIV-positive trans woman breast feeds in Canada. Let's see. Okay, I'm seeing exactly one story repeating this. Now let's take a look at the citation. Let's see. Oh, so they went and found a Reddit post. Hey sisters, cheers. It turns out that one indisputable benefit of being trans femme is that you can be pregnant and get drunk with no undue problems. Malt is spectacular for lactation, so trans femme moms, beer is actually beneficial. Have a baby almost 9 months old. Presence in my life astoundingly unlikely. They're there and they're perfect. I genuinely have no idea if this is a real story or not. And frankly, neither does anyone reporting on it. Because the entire source for it is some person posting it on Reddit. There's nothing else in this article other than the social media posts. That's it. It's just a deep dive onto social media posts. Interesting. So basically, yeah, so basically, your presentation of this is flawed. I will say, it looks like this researcher, affiliated with McGill University, was not told that this trans woman was inducing lactation. Also, I'm just going to throw this out there. Prior to identifying as transgender, Pearson was involved in politically advocating for the US-based anti-feminist men's rights nonprofit A Voice for Men. So, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say, I don't trust this. I don't trust the subject of the article. I don't trust the people reporting the article. I don't trust the fact that, like, literally the only source for this seems to be a right-wing rag. Yeah. Yeah, no, it is agitprop.
Sorry, Benny?
If I may, just since I brought up the clip, if you don't mind, Piers.
Sure.
Could I ask Destiny right now, would you like to apologize to Laken Riley's family for her murder, since it's open border Democrat policies that you promote?
Why? I guess Destiny could turn it right back around on Benny.
On your program, would you like to apologize to the parents of Laken Riley for the murder of her child?
The virtue signaling is off the charts. I didn't kill anybody, so I'm not going to apologize to anybody for somebody getting killed.
But there are
unfortunately, there are a lot of people
that
get killed in the United States for a large variety of reasons. If anybody gets killed, especially based on the background of this guy, this guy definitely should have been deported. I don't think anybody disagrees with that. But hey, listen, if you want the border stuff to be cleared up so much, why don't you tell Republicans to stop turning into a game in the White House or in Congress and actually approve legislation to get more funding down for the border?
Okay.
Right now, it's Republicans who pulled the plug on that because Trump wants to maintain the one little bit of electoral advantage he might have, which is you guys trying to stir stuff up over the border. And it's funny also how you frame this all like, oh, they're trying to stop human smuggling. No, they're not. They're just trying to secure the border. Humans are going to be smuggled all over the place, regardless of whether it's into America or not. It's not like Trump actually cares about
Destiny, the truth, Destiny, what I would say about that is, whether you're on the left or right in America, nobody can dispute that the southern border is in complete and utter turmoil. And I'm afraid if you're the President of the United States and you've been there for 3 years, it's on you, right? He's done nothing to stop it. In fact, he's made it a lot worse. Dave Smith, you've been very patiently waiting. Get stuck in.
This is the most patient I've ever been in my life.
I know. I appreciate it. But get stuck in now.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, I think probably Destiny, even you could admit that it just shows such a tremendous disconnect and a contempt for the voters and this weird woke progressive value.
Wait, the people who have contempt for the voters here are the conservatives. The voters chose already between Biden and Trump, and they chose Biden. Like, if anyone has contempt here, it's the people showing contempt for Biden. My God.
That after getting her name wrong, he apologizes in his next interview for calling the guy an illegal and says he should have said undocumented, but doesn't say, hey, so, like, can you at least grant that apologizing for calling an insensitive name to the murderer and not apologizing for getting the actual name of the murder victim correct it's like, are you trying to throw the election? It's almost as if like these woke progressive values have taken people to a point where they can't even do what's in their own political interest, because you would just think that the vast majority of voters would be like, well, clearly you owe an apology to one of these people, and it's not the murderer.
Dave, what do you think?
Well, again, he's not apologizing to the murderer. He's apologizing to the millions of other people who might potentially be called illegal aliens, whether they are undocumented or not. He's apologizing to an entire swath, an entire huge portion of the electorate. This willful misinterpretation here is just... It's stupid. It's so stupid. Like, they could have actual substantive disagreements with Joe Biden, and instead, Destiny's right here. This is all, like, conservative virtue signaling. It's just posturing.
What do you think is going to happen in November?
Well, I mean, this is a really tough election to predict. I mean, I'll tell you, I think that the
good job banning that chatter in Twitch. They were irritating and not really adding anything fun.
The three-letter organizations that really run the United States of America and have much more power than
yes, the alphabet organizations. They really run America. It's all secret. Again, this is part of the conspiracy singularity that I've been talking about for like the last several weeks. You know, this conspiracism is what then draws like, oh, you're right, the FBI and the CIA really do control all of America. And then suddenly it's, wow, great replacement theory really is happening. And then it's, wow, they really are going to come for our guns. And then it's, oh, they are Jews. I finally get it. And like, it's just this pipeline down into like the singularity. And then eventually like, once they're at the center of it, they can functionally believe any other component part of the grander conspiracy network, you know? Yeah, it's the brain melt pipeline, exactly.
Elected representatives, I think they have pretty clearly signaled that Donald Trump returning to the White House is unacceptable to them, and they are going to use whatever means necessary to not let that happen. And in that case,
hey Charlie,
like if you're betting against the CIA, you may not win. If there is a democratic process and Trump is not removed, as of right now, I think there's absolutely no question that Donald Trump gets elected. Look, if you look at any of the polling, the major two issues are the economy and immigration. And Trump is where the American people are much more than Joe Biden is. He can try to spin it now and say, oh, well, we're trying to do border.
Well, yeah, German cow JJ, the cops aren't a three-letter organization, okay? They're sometimes 4 letters, but like if you just say cop, that's just one cop. So it's not a 3-letter organization, okay? It doesn't count the same way. It's not an acronym.
Border security, but the Republicans aren't playing ball. But you just can't ignore the last, since 2016, Trump was demonized viciously by every single progressive for talking about building a wall, talking about having border security.
He's being demonized because he's a fascist. And because his policies are bad and aren't going to fix the problem. Like if he builds a border wall, people have ladders. People have ladders, people have tunnels, people have airplanes, people have fucking, like, air launchers to launch, like, drugs over. People have catapults. We got all kinds of different things. What are you talking about?
To try to turn it around now and be like, no, I'm really the border hawk and the open border is Donald Trump's fault is just not going to sell. Their message on the economy is essentially
boats exist.
The economy is really good. You're just too stupid to realize how good it is. And also, I think Donald Trump, at least rhetorically, with foreign policy, is much closer to where the American people are right now, which is after 20 plus years of terror wars, every last one of them an absolute disaster. The funding the war in Ukraine, everything they said was going to happen has not happened. And I think that the kind of non-intervention...
again, Donald Trump is not a non-interventionist. He's literally urging on the genocide happening in Gaza right now. Like, he's in favor of mass murder for Palestinians. Like, the idea that he's a man of peace is just bullshit.
Interventionist, America first. Again, at least rhetorically, there's a lot of things Trump did on foreign policy that I don't support. But I think he's certainly much closer to where the American people are than Joe Biden on all of the biggest issues.
Destiny.
And that's and by the way, I would just add that is what is appealing to Trump supporters. And I'm not a Trump supporter, but that's what's appealing to Donald Trump supporters, not the fact that he sends mean tweets. And you can talk to any Trump supporter.
What's really fascinating to me are 2 recent polls, Destiny, which I
sounds
think
like
should send a shiver down the spine.
Does he sound like Steven Crowder?
not the fact that he's sending
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
mean tweets. And you
Well,
can talk to
I
any
think
Trump
what's
supporter.
really
That's the truth.
fascinating to me are two recent polls, Destiny,
Maybe a
which
little
I think
bit.
should send a shiver down the spine
Hey, Nina.
of all Democrats, which is a poll from March the 3rd. Donald Trump's support among black voters has grown by 500% in the last 4 years, according to the New York Times. His support among black voters is now 23%, marking a
Hey, Frog
19%
Foibles.
increase since October 2020. And a poll from the Arab American Institute from the end of 2023 showed support among Arab American voters for Biden has plummeted by nearly 60% in 2020 to 17% today. I mean, those two things are quite extraordinary when his main opponent is somebody that the Democrats love to demonize, quite literally. You use that word yourself, but they demonize him constantly as the worst racist in America. Why is it that those two things are happening?
Well, for people voting from the Middle East or of Arab descent or
Hey,
whatever,
Meatbomb.
right now they're probably going to be heavily influenced by stuff going on in Israel, Palestine, obviously. But I think that Americans' memory when it comes to foreign policy tends to be pretty short. So we'll have to see where Israel Palestine is at in 6 months to see how much that's on the forefront of people's minds. But again, for any person that's not supporting Biden because they think he's being too harsh on Gaza, it's not like Trump would be any better. Again, Trump is a staunch
Nina rated into me because I guess their stream was done.
pro-Israel supporter. Trump was the one who recognized the moving of that embassy. The idea that Donald Trump is going to
Larry
try to rein
Potato.
in the leash on Israel more than Biden has is ridiculous. As for minority votes for Trump, again, it's hard to say. Everything is so up in the air. There were just some polls that came out recently that show that there was almost like a 10-point swing in how people are viewing Biden's senility just after the State of the Union, where Democrats and independent voters now have a much more favorable view of Biden after the State of the Union in regards to his senility. And I also saw that the AP posted something today showing that a majority of American voters think that both Biden and Trump are too old and senile to be in office. So I think that we're going to have to wait a few months until we get closer to the election to see what people actually care about, because every time an issue comes up, people think this is going to be the election deciding issue. But then, in a couple of weeks, something else comes up. In a month or two, something completely different is being talked about, and we'll see what happens when the actual election rolls around. I would like to remind people, though, for as much as people say, this is why Trump is popular, this is why most Americans support Trump, Trump has never won a popular election in the entire history of the United States. Conservatives enjoy a great deal of structural advantage, whether it's the composition of the Senate and each state getting 2 votes, whether it's the composition of the House and a disproportionate amount of voters in conservative states being represented, or whether it's the electoral
Not gonna lie, he's spitting right now.
college, where somebody like Donald Trump can lose to Hillary Clinton by
Hey, Strawhead
millions of
Monty.
votes and still somehow come away with the presidency. So don't fall for this illusion that Trump has ever been the most popular candidate in the United States. That's not true. Even in the elections he's won, he's only won it because of the structural advantages that conservatives
but he
enjoy
was the-
in the U.S.
all right,
electoral
he was-
We're a
system.
constitutional dude. Have you read the founding documents? We're a constitutional republic. We're not a direct democracy. That's not how this
That's because a direct democracy is different than just the category of a democracy.
country was founded. If you want that, move to a different country. That's not
No,
the
nothing.
presidency was never supposed to be
part of what I just said was
never
complaining about the structure of our democracy. I was just explaining
But
that
this
using an
idea,
electoral system to point to the popularity of the president isn't exactly accurate. Are you following the conversation?
the popular vote.
Okay, that was actually pretty funny. That was a good dunk on Benny Johnson, because you could see like his brain broke for a second while trying to recalibrate his outrage machine,
The popular vote argument was never part of the founding of this nation and was never designed to be the way that we elect our leaders. So, I mean, again, that's
I
just
agree.
fantasy.
That's
and that
cool.
also
Yeah, that's really cool, man. I wasn't talking about that.
so
I'm glad,
wasn't our
thank you. Do you want
point.
to
I
say any
wasn't
other
saying
obvious
that
facts
there's-
about how the United States works?
Yes,
Sorry,
yes,
So, I
but
mean,
you're
I guess
saying it in
what I'm
response to
saying
us
is
talking
your
about
argument is
why
why
people support
specious.
him.
Your argument is totally irrelevant because you're saying Donald Trump never won the popular vote, but who the hell cares?
Yeah, look, I think the
Well, if
bottom
you're saying
bottom
that Donald
line
Trump is
is
the most popular
the
candidate
bottom,
in the
let me
United
just
States,
jump in a
rejoice
minute.
about popular-
Let me jump in. I think the bottom line is, regardless, Donald Trump won the White House in 2016, and all the polls suggest he might well win it again, which for a guy who literally was never a politician, but was a real estate magnate and a TV star, is pretty sensational, and some might think pretty damning of the American political system. One of the reasons, Benny, I think that Trump is so popular with so many Americans is he does not behave like a regular politician. It's part of his charm to them. And one of the examples I would give was his reaction after the Biden State of the Union thing. He put out some Snapchat filters morphing Biden's face into Pinocchio, a woman, and a dog. And we have some pictures here. And
yeah, no, this was like unhinged shit, because what Piers Morgan is conveniently leaving out here is that Donald Trump went on like a 3-hour-long posting tirade on Truth Social that literally just writing nonstop rage posting about the State of the Union and how good Biden was doing.
You can't look at that and not laugh. I mean, even if you hate Trump, it's funny, right?
I mean, it's not. I've seen funnier things. I thought the Trump sandworm bit was a lot funnier, but I mean, face funny though, I guess.
Also caps and won't go into effect until 2025. And by the way, that law was written and the benefit expires in 2025. New electric grids that are able to weather major storms and not prevent those forest fires.
You see, Benny, this is part of the magic of Trump as a politician.
Are you fucking with me? Okay, I know we watched these random clips of face filters on Joe Biden, but have you ever imagined a president or a former president that could be this funny? Like, and he's like gesturing to a post that's like the equivalent of like what a middle school like group of girls might send and like get like a tiny giggle. Like it's not even that wasn't funny. And not because it was like disrespectful to Joe Biden or whatever. I don't care about that. It was just not funny because you're just putting face filters on. Like that part that's not inherently funny.
Putting aside whether you think it's good or bad magic, or nice fairy dust or evil fairy dust, he is very, very smart at making Americans laugh, right? You can't watch one of his rallies with his free-rolling address.
Worship of the Olympians. Piers Morgan should go into blank if he wants to see suck that much blank.
Addresses to the world.
Thank you for the $5 dono.
Quite regularly, even if you hate the guy. And that is part of the reason that people gravitate to him. He's not like a normal politician.
Right. So Trump is the most famous man who has probably ever lived, and most powerful, quite frankly, man.
He's not the most famous man who ever... Are you kidding me? Like, I can think of at least one more famous individual than Trump. That's Jesus Christ. There are probably a few others that I would list before Abraham Lincoln, Winston Churchill, JFK, Arthur from the children's television show Arthur. These people are more famous than Donald Trump.
Who has ever been a celebrity, because Trump's been a celebrity for 50 years. He really knows that industry. And it was quite interesting. If we want to go back to last weekend, we were able to sit ringside with Trump at UFC. We didn't know Trump was going to be there, but this weekend in Miami, in walks Donald Trump. 70,000 people in Miami cheering for Donald Trump. This used to be a blue city, and the roars were like a 70,000 person army taking the field of battle. It was really something to behold. But this is what was very interesting, Piers, and this is something I think you'll appreciate because you interview a lot of celebrities. At that event, there were NFL quarterbacks, billionaires, tech titans, media moguls, people that were leftists, people that were Democrats, every single one of them coming up to Donald Trump to say hello.
Oh, well, John Bogardus, Piers is conservative. Like, he's aligned more with these two individuals over here.
To clap him on the back to get a photo. Now, normally it's the politicians running up to the celebrities to try and get a little brush the shoulders, right? They were running to Trump. What does that say? That says Trump is culture. That says Trump is the epoch of where they actually want to be. The masculine American celebrity that has truly conquered and that has power. And that's actually what a lot of these people want. And so it was really quite remarkable to see that happening in real time. It really like clicked for me that Donald Trump is the creation of culture, and this is why they hate him so much.
Well,
this is
like,
why they need to cancel.
Donald Trump is the creation of culture. Please. Yeah, video games? Nah. Movies? Nah. Novels? That's for little girls and babies. Stone tablets? Nah. No, only Trump makes makes culture. Like he literally this is the end result of like the fascist cult of personality, guys. He's literally rejecting whether he believes it or not is irrelevant, by the way. Whether he actually believes it or not is irrelevant. But he's making the argument to try and convince people that the only arbiter of culture is Donald Trump. This is fascist endgame cult. You know?
On that point, I read a survey several years ago when he won the first time, and it said that Trump, it was a study, a proper data analysis of celebrity power based on media coverage of celebrities around the world. And Trump had more media coverage than the next 1,000 most famous people combined, right? I don't think there's any doubt that Trump is the most famous person in the world. I would have put him up there with the late, great Queen of England, but now that she sadly died, I think Trump is the biggest star on the planet, for better or worse. And that...
You would have said the Queen of England is the most famous in 2023? Really? I doubt most Americans could even name her.
Dave Smith is actually a problem for the Democrats. It's been a problem for the other Republican candidates to be nominee. They got completely blown away. And
Trump
it's going to be
goons to Trump.
Worshipper of the Olympians, thank you for the second $5 dono. Trump goons indeed.
A big problem for the Democrats if Joe Biden, who, you know, looks increasingly senile, can barely string a sentence together. He did okay, actually, at the State of the Union, but the perception of American voters right now, particularly Democrat voters, 2/3 of whom don't want him to run again, is that he's just too old. And Trump is, all right, he's not far off him in age, but in terms of vitality, it's like...
This topic feels especially weird, considering Destiny just brought up that after the State of the Union, the perception of Biden as too old shifted 10 points towards he's not too old. Like...
Have another gift. Sub for the sub god. Dono for the dono dog.
Salmon Moose, thank you for the gifted sub to Smelanie. And subs for the sub god. Donos to the dono god. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you for helping to make this show possible. And since we are at the top of the hour right now, I will just throw out there, if you've all been enjoying the show, please do consider hitting the follow button on Twitch and hitting the subscribe button on YouTube. Like the YouTube stream. Oh, the YouTube stream reset. I forgot. I was about to say it's weird that you guys only have 29 likes on this stream, but we did reset it like twice. So sorry about that. Salmon Moose, thank you for the 1,000 Twitch follows. I appreciate it. And yeah. Hi everybody. Salmon Moose is the best. That is true.
It's like chalk and cheese. And you combine that with Trump's star power and a general sense of Biden's lost it. And if Biden's a candidate, I think Trump wins.
I mean, Biden is the candidate. There's literally no one who can oppose him.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, like I said before, if Trump is not removed somehow, I think right now that's overwhelmingly what it looks like is going to happen. You know, as far as, yes, Donald Trump is old too. I think most people in general would agree that, generally speaking, people this age shouldn't be president. The obvious difference is that if you go look at a tape from Donald Trump 10 years ago giving a speech, or you listen to him today giving a speech, he sounds exactly the same. That is not true for Joe Biden. He has very clearly lost a step. And even in this State of the Union.
Well, Joe Biden, I believe, did have like an aneurysm or something. Like had like a brain issue, and also like he has a stutter, and there are a few medical issues for Joe Biden.
Which, as you said, and I'll agree, he did better than, if the standard is he was able to walk and get up there and read words off a teleprompter. Yeah. He did pull that off.
The bar is very low.
Here, but literally, we're all sitting here going, he pulled it off. He actually spoke words out of a teleprompter. This is just not the case for Donald Trump. And as far as the point of Donald Trump being so famous for so long, look,
I really hate that this is where we are as America. And can I take a moment to just apologize to those of you who aren't Americans? I am so sorry. I am so sorry right now that, like, not only does the fate of America rest in the hands of Joe Biden, but also if Donald Trump becomes president, literally every other country on earth is going to suffer as a result. And I do want to preface this election cycle by apologizing, just in case. I am sorry. And good night, Ashley. Get good sleep. And thank you for helping to invent the internet. I truly, deeply appreciate it. I am sorry that we thrust our politics upon y'all.
Look, I'll tell you, like, I'm a stand-up comedian, so I've performed a lot in my career in front of an audience. And there is something about, you know, like when you first start stand-up, it's a very nerve-wracking experience to go up in front of an audience. After you've been doing it for a long time, you're kind of used to it. Donald Trump, from the minute he started running, when he would go into the debates, if you can just imagine, put yourself in Jeb Bush's position. You've been the brother of the president, the son of the president.
Very successful
You're a governor down in a successful.
This guy, okay. This guy does kind of sound like if you combine Dave Rubin and Steven Crowder's voice. If I think of it that way, I can totally hear the Steven Crowder.
Governor, but have you ever been on that stage before? On that big of a stage?
And called low energy Jeb. The moment he said low energy Jeb.
That was the biggest one. There's some high-level ideas. I'm very intelligent.
He either looked like he had low energy, or he overcompensated and looked like a Duracell bunny. Either way, he was toast.
But why is it Donald Trump gets out there? He's already been hosting the #1 television show in the world. He gets out there and cracks his neck, and he's like, I'm right where I belong. Let's go to work. And I think that is a big advantage over other politicians who tend to be dorks.
No question.
What was the #1 television show in the world? I don't... Is he talking about The Apprentice? Because that was not the #1 show in the world.
Now, I want to come back to Destiny. I want to give you a little bit of fun here, Destiny. We're having a lot of fun at Biden's expense. But this lady, Katie Britt, who popped up after the State of the Union to give the Republican response. Let's take a little look at her in action.
Good evening, America. My name...
I am curious what they'll say. They might disown her. They might just throw her under the bus.
...is Katie Britt, and I have the honor of serving the people of the great state of Alabama in the United States Senate. However, that's not the job that matters most. I am a proud...
Honestly, and I said this at the time when we were covering it,
Hello.
It feels like this scene from Get Out. The vibe I get from her is similar to this one.
Tattletale.
Yeah.
Oh, don't you worry about that. I can assure you, I don't answer to anyone.
This is the vibe I get. This one right here. This like crying smile. This is the same vibe. It's the same vibe that I get. It's very creepy. Also, Get Out is one of the best horror movies of all time.
Proud wife and mom of 2 school-aged kids. My daughter Bennett and my son Ridgway are why I ran for the Senate. I'm worried about their future and the future of children in every corner of our nation. And that's why I invited you into our home tonight.
Well, Scarlett Johansson popped up on Saturday Night Live and gave this version of Miss Brit.
Good evening, America. My name is Katie Britt, and I have the honor of serving the great people of Alabama. But tonight, I'll be auditioning for the part of Scary Mom. And I'll be performing an original monologue called This Country is Hell. You see, I'm not just a senator. I'm a wife, a mother, and the craziest bitch.
As a cishet man saying 2 grown cishet men suck this much. I don't know why the text-to-speech isn't reading your comment. I'm sorry. It might be because of all the asterisks.
In the Target parking lot. I'm worried about the future of our children, and this is why I've invited you into this strange, empty kitchen. Because Republicans wanted me to appeal to women voters, and women love kitchen.
Destin, before I get your reaction to this, Charlie Kirk, the CEO of the Trump-affiliated group Turning Points USA, said Joe Biden just declared war on the American right, and Katie Britt is talking like she's hosting a cooking show. So even a lot on the right were like, creeped out by this. I mean, it was completely, it reminded me a lot of Sarah Palin when she came along, and John McCain inexplicably decided to go with Palin, which probably cost him that election.
Us women, we love kitchen.
What did you make of this when you were watching it? I feel like it's a perfect summary right now of where the Conservative Party is at in the United States. This is like fake, this feigned outrage for what's going on. It's these impassioned pleas to save the country. It's the horrendous misciting. Like we just got, all of these people upset that Biden mispronounced the one lady's name, and here this.
Like Benny Johnson, you can tell he does not give a single actual fuck. Because he'll just stand there, sit there, with like a weird smirk on his face, and then when it's his turn to talk, he'll do like the, oh, I'm actually really mad tone of voice, but like he doesn't actually care. If you actually care, you don't restrain yourself until it's your turn.
This lady is completely and totally misrepresenting this story, trying to blame Biden for the woman that had basically been sex trafficked. I think it was like 10 or 20 years ago. This lady's been traveling around the country telling this story for like some decades now. And Katie's trying to pretend like this happened under Biden. I just think it's a perfect summation of what the Conservative Party stands for right now, which is like all outrage and no substance.
Benny, have you got any defense of Miss Britt? Did you think this was a powerful moment for the Republicans?
This is why you're so good at what you do, Piers, because on its face, I agree with Destiny. Because we deserved better as a response to the State of the Union. Like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but like
that's my headline now. That's my headline for the tease for this segment. Benny Johnson, I agree with Destiny.
Katie Britt deserves a Razzie for that performance. And if you listen to the way that she talks as like a normal person, that's not the way she talks. No. It's totally performative. And there are.
Benny Johnson, you don't have a high ground on that one.
I have an idea. A TV show about vampires that have seasonal depression. Yes, I am high.
Thank you for the $5 dono. And I feel like that might not work as a TV show concept, but it might work as like a side character in a different, like in a ensemble cast. Well, I did tell you I would take a sip every time one of these people says something just absolutely wild.
real serious person. It's not just a girl. It's Laken Riley. She's an American. Her family is mourning, and they deserve, obviously, to have their daughter alive and not slaughtered by a criminal alien. But as a Republican Party, messaging matters. It's really important. And you can't put up somebody like that. I don't know why they didn't pick Vivek. I got to be honest with you. I don't know why they didn't pick Vivek.
I agree.
This is absolutely a time to have Vivek Ramaswamy talk, and he's a great communicator.
Yeah.
Why they went this way, I do not know.
Well, because usually the person who's giving the response to the State of the Union is a Republican official, like an elected Republican. It's usually not just some random guy, which is what Vivek is. He doesn't hold an office. He was just a candidate for the presidency. I mean, I guess it could be Vivek if he, like, announced that he was, like, going to be the vice president or something.
It was a gift. This is the final thing I'll say. It's a gift. Because then suddenly the pivot goes from Joe Biden sort of angrily screaming for 90 minutes, getting Laken Riley's name wrong, and having a number of hot mic moments saying that Bibi Netanyahu needs a come to Jesus moment, saying that he wishes he had cognitive decline, which is both things Joe Biden said after the speech. Strange. Whatever. Like, and Joe Biden getting yelled at by a father who lost his Marine son in Afghanistan. Steve Nakui was up there in the audience. He got arrested by Joe Biden afterwards, or at least by the Capitol Police. But all of that aside, Katie Britt then becomes the joke.
Right.
And so then you sort of like move, the target moves over to Katie Britt, and SNL doesn't open on her, a cold open on her instead of Joe Biden.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Stupid.
I want to pivot, if I can, Dave, with you to RFK Jr., who I know you
just totally threw her under the bus there. Amazing.
You've interviewed recently. He's a very interesting character. I mean, I've interviewed him several times now, and I find him very interesting. I think he's a really...
Joe Biden leaped up there, boiled peanuts. He coiled his legs and just leapt 2 stories up onto the balcony and said, "Mister, you're under arrest," and then personally cuffed him with the pair he carries on him at all times before leaping back down to the podium. We all saw it happen live. It's true.
Charismatic, experienced guy. He seems to wind up all the right kind of people. Clearly serious, and he comes from a...
You know, I look away from YouTube chat for 1 minute, and then I see just contextualness incarnate. Get the void out. T-shirts being sold by the Majority Report for a limited time. And I have to tell you, that is the least sensical thing I've ever read in my life. I love it. And you guys are delightfully weird.
Serious political family. And he's raising money, and he's got popularity. What do you think of his significance in this race, if he has any?
Well, I agree with you. I mean, I think he's a very impressive person, and he's very smart. I mean, look, he's a guy who you want to listen to who can't speak. So that's pretty impressive. He makes people he's going on a national speaking tour and resonating with millions of people. And he has major issues speaking. And you can get past that because he's just got interesting things to say. Yeah. I got to say, I do think that for whatever reason, his position on the war in Gaza has just totally ruined his campaign. And all you have to do is run the counterfactual here. I mean, imagine he had come out against that war and against U.S. support for it. Right now, 50% of Democratic voters call it a genocide. In other words, they believe that Joe Biden is funding and facilitating a genocide. There's also a good amount of non-interventionists on the right.
I'm surprised that this man has said so many things just now that are at least accurate. My expectations were very low.
Have pulled in so many voters, been the real anti-war candidate, opposed to our proxy war in Ukraine, opposed to backing Israel in this war, and instead, as was pointed out earlier by Destiny, and I think he was right about this, that there's really nowhere else to go for a political candidate, because Donald Trump is out there saying, I'll be even better for Israel, and then RFK is going around with Rabbi Shmuley and letting everybody know that he'll be even more pro-Israel, and there's this enormous contingency that is appalled by what's going on over there and wants no part of it, certainly not to be funding it, but he, for whatever reason, feels differently. And so I do think it's a real shame.
I want to bring in just some news that's broken while we've been talking, actually. It's quite fascinating. I've got a sort of personal view on this, but Don Lemon.
Well, Straw Hat Monty, by all means, when the One Piece chapter drops, go with my blessing, because One Piece is good, from what I've been told, and radical communist propaganda, and I approve of both those things.
You may remember who got fired from CNN. And he then got offered a lifeboat by Elon Musk, who said, look, come and do a show for me on X, rather like with Tucker Carlson. So the Don Lemon show was announced quite recently. And he then announced in the last 2 days his first interview was going to be with Elon Musk, technically his employer and certainly his bankroller for the new show. And he did the interview and announced, and it was all going to happen, all going to be revealed, I think, on Monday. And Elon Musk has now cancelled Don Lemon's show because of the way the interview went, which has stunned Don Lemon, who said that he felt it went pretty well. But he said, Elon Musk is mad at me. It doesn't change my relationship with him, except that it'll have to now be on YouTube.
But see, here's the thing: you're asking people who genuinely don't care about like the freedom of speech. They're delighted when it happens to left-leaning people. You know, if you're left or like moderate, they're delighted when it happens to you. Like, see, Benny Johnson over here just like beaming, just like, oh, that's so funny.
X have come out and said the Don Lemon show is welcome to publish his content on X, but we, like any enterprise, we reserve the right to make decisions about our business partnerships. Not to cover consideration, decided not to enter a commercial partnership with the show. I mean, Destiny, Elon Musk is a mercurial character. In my view, he's a genius who's done incredible things, but he has a very thin skin. I mean, I was supposed to interview him in January, was dealing with him directly, was going to go to Austin, and then he saw a clip of me and Zuby where I was criticizing his decision to allow Alex Jones back on the platform.
Oh my God, did we cover that one? Was that the Zuby episode where Zuby was talking about mental health? Benny, when someone brings up Elon, yeah, he immediately gets erect.
Which I still think was wrong. And I gave him a mild chiding over it, and he cancelled the interview. Just like that, bang. And said he lost all respect for me. Can a guy be the king of free speech in the way that Elon Musk wants us to think he is and do this kind of thing?
I don't think very many people hold freedom of speech as a principle. I think freedom of speech tends to be weaponized by the side that feels like they don't have a voice at any particular moment in time. So right now you see conservatives championing freedom of speech while simultaneously supporting Donald Trump, who said he would want to open up defamation lawsuits against media companies, or he would want to revoke the citizenship of Americans who would set the flag on fire, or he wants to suspend the Constitution to run for office and investigate voter fraud claims, right? I don't think that people have these very principled commitments to freedom of speech. I think that they tend to just weaponize them when they feel like they're not getting their voice heard. I think for a long time for Twitter, conservatives...
Wait, Benny got outed for being gay? Wait, Boiled Peanuts, can you post a citation on that one? Hey, Gloombops. Wait, are you the same Gloombops that was in that the clip that was kind of going around Lefty YouTube or Lefty Twitter? There we go. Give me a minute if I can find it. I would love that, Boiled Peanuts. Because we covered a brief teaser of his Valentine's Day with his wife, and it was deeply, deeply weird. Hypervisor, I think he actually has a jaw thing. So yeah, probably something he's not consciously trying to do.
Felt that, and honestly, rightfully so. I think that some of the censorship stuff that was being exercised across a lot of the social media platforms was pretty heavy-handed, and I think thankfully a lot of policies have started to be rolled back, so YouTube doesn't censor people as aggressively as they used to. That being said, if you look at Elon Musk,
if you pay attention to how he enunciates words, I think he has an issue with how he says S's. So I think it is a genuine speech impediment, jaw issue, something like that.
you should have known from day one, as soon as the Twitter files dropped in the way that they did, where Elon Musk basically brought in a bunch of PR journalists to go over files that his employees would make available for them to blow up the prior owners of Twitter. You should have known that his commitment to freedom of speech was only insofar as it would serve his needs and his ends. And I think you've seen that show up basically over and over again as he's ran Twitter. So it's no surprise that if he feels like somebody's not giving him the favorable type of coverage that he'd want, that he would probably try to axe these people from his platform, or he wouldn't be interested in working with them in the future.
I mean, Benny, it's pretty extraordinary to cancel a show that you have bankrolled after one show, and it's an interview with you.
So I think we're missing the entire point here, which is the difference between Twitter 1.0 and X. I call it Twitter 2.0, Elon's Twitter. Twitter 1.0 wasn't just canceling shows. There were no shows, by the way, on Twitter 1.0. They were deleting accounts. They were deleting the voices of people. They were stopping you.
Oh, Destiny had a talk with Mark Lamont Hill? Interesting. I might have to check that out. However, if we do make it to the end of this, never mind. I'm not going to say anything. Here we go.
From speaking. They were deboosting your content. They were making it so people couldn't find you or you couldn't grow on the platform. I was one of those people. I'm in the Twitter files. So is Charlie Kirk. So is a bunch of other people. They banned the sitting president of the United States who had 88 million followers at the time. It's totally different to say I'm in a business relationship with you and I decided this business relationship doesn't work. Elon Musk does that all the time. He's a very shrewd businessman. That's what makes him the richest man on earth. And so Elon Musk isn't canceling Don Lemon's voice. That would be actually anti-freedom of speech. Anti-freedom of speech isn't I refuse to pay you money because I don't like your content.
I think he's perfectly entitled to cancel the show if he's put money into it. Of course he is. It's the optics. It's the optics of it to me are a little bit like, come on, Elon. You know, you give this guy a show, you do an interview, and whatever went. I mean, everyone will watch that interview now. But how bad was it really to justify canceling the show?
Also, Twitter still deboosts content. They deboost whole platforms that people do. Like if you do a Substack link in your Twitter post because Elon's so mad about Substack trying to compete with Twitter, they'll literally deboost that tweet. So this still happens. The algorithm is open source.
Well, Dave Smith, let me bring in you on something else that's broken, which is the US House of Representatives has approved a landmark bill that could see TikTok banned in America. This has been a raging issue for quite some time. Growing concern about China's influence over TikTok, despite TikTok saying that they have a US entity that's very separate. 150 million people in America use TikTok. It is the #1 news source for people under 24, I think, now in the world. Is it actually a good thing if America bans TikTok, or is it a bad thing?
No, I mean, I think it's horrible. At least the text of the legislation that I had seen as of yesterday, and I'm not sure if that's changed as it passed today. But this Thomas Massey, who is, I believe, the best congressman in the country, he was sounding the alarm bells on this, and that the language is so vague and so.
I can't believe I'm about to say two things. One, this guy is 100% right, and two, Thomas Massey is 100% right? Oh my god. Ugh. That tasted bad just saying. Ugh. But the TikTok ban is overly broad. It is actually a threat to, like, our freedom of press. Basically, any website, app, whatever, that accepts foreign money or is based in another country could be taken down by the president. Practically unilaterally. Like, it is bad. We talked about it yesterday, and it's just, it is bad. So, I can't believe it. I'm saying this, but I agree with this libertarian communicator.
So slippery that it would give the government the ability to control all types of different social media sites and to censor all types of content. And keep in mind that the U.S. federal government has been trying to regulate the internet and censor people online for years, from back when they attempted with SOPA, to the net neutrality stuff, to all of the stuff we learned of in the Twitter files, where the FBI and even the CIA are coming in and talking about which accounts they want to be banned and asking Twitter why this person is still on there, and things where it was just people during the COVID lockdown saying like, hey, I don't think these lockdowns work, or hey, I don't think this vaccine actually does stop you from getting COVID. My point is, many of the people who were vindicated and turned out to be right. And so, yeah, I think there's a real problem with TikTok. But you don't think that they were vindicated to be right, Destiny, when they said the vaccine
No, of course
wouldn't
not.
stop
The
you from
vast
getting
majority
it?
of the COVID conspiracies were absolutely false. There is no worldwide vaccine passport
Oh,
mandate. There aren't all these people dying from vaccines.
Listen,
there wasn't created a bioweapons
I'm not,
lab in Ukraine.
okay, but you're arguing with something I didn't say. I'm saying the official narrative was that it didn't come from the lab. If you get the vaccine, you cannot get it and you cannot transmit it. These were huge stories that...
No. No one has ever said, no scientist, no professional health communicator is out there saying over and over and over again that vaccines make you immune to viruses, make you immune from getting ill. The vaccine mandate, you didn't even have to be vaccinated. All you had to do was regularly test. Like, come on now. The lies are obvious and thick.
We're flatly wrong. No, you're shaking your head. That's not wrong.
The official position of the NIH or the government was not that if you get vaccinated, you will never transmit it and you will never get sick. I know that there is the one quote that people. Yes, I'm aware.
Fauci
There's
said
the
that
one
multiple
quote, but
times.
for anybody that honestly
Fauci
followed
said it,
any of
Biden
that
said
or
it.
saw all of his statements, nobody actually thought that. It is unfathomable to me that people that will make so many excuses for every single Trump gaffe will come out and take like 7 words quoted by the president.
Excuse
and go,
have I made
oh my
for
God,
Trump?
they said the vaccine was 100% effective. It would never. That's unbelievable. Nobody really thought that. That's an unbelievable
Okay,
position.
fine.
But also, the only
really
other
thought
funny
it.
is the idea that all these people were
Nobody really
vindicated. They
thought
weren't
it, but the
vindicated.
president... Okay, you're right. First off, I haven't made any excuses for Trump gaffes.
Damn. Okay. Props to him for admitting when he's wrong, I guess.
I think you're just trying to create something that you assume is me. But nobody said it, nobody thought it, except the president of the United States of America and Fauci. You're right. Nobody else ever said that you can't get
I think
COVID
you need more
if you
than
get the
one
vaccine.
sentence of a thing to see if they genuinely thought that the vaccine would be 100% prevent. Like none of our vaccines are 100% effective or prevent the transmission of 100% of a disease if you caught it. There's no vaccine like that.
Can I just say, chaps?
So they shouldn't have said that then.
Can I say, chaps, you have all 3 of you lived up to every expectation as a collective unit. So thank you very much indeed. We've covered a wide range of things. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I appreciate you coming on Uncensored. Thank you very much.
You got to have us back, Piers, because that was getting hot. Got to talk about myocarditis. Got to talk about myocarditis.
Well, you know what? We will. We'll talk about myocarditis. I'm very happy to do that, but I'll do it another time.
Oh, Boiled Peanuts, can you post it in the YouTube chat?
But we will. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Godspeed.
Wow. Yeah. So, what even to say about that? That was incomprehensible nonsense. Like, when I think about the nightmare blunt, I guess I didn't actually think I would like pass out and have a nightmare and wake up. I didn't think that was what was going to happen when I named the stream that. Essentially here, that was just wild nonsense. And frankly, and I also can't believe I'm saying this, props to Destiny for being able to hold his ground there against 2 belligerent opponents. Really 3 belligerent opponents. Like that was, that would have been hard to deal with. Yeah. When Destiny wants to, Dylan, he can like actually put an effort into being like a presentable human being.